Okay, while we're waiting for Python stuff to download and fix itself, let's do the easier thing. I just want to learn to read and write to a file, right? So, first things first, open a browser window, right? Google Python write to file, right? Okay, so here's the thing. Scrolly till I find some code. Hey, look, there's code. Let's just copy this, right? Because done. Oops, that's PowerScript. That's PowerShell. This. Paste. Yeah, you could certainly write this into PowerShell. It would be very confused. If you opened up the python.exe file, though, and pasted this into the python.exe file, it might have a chance of working. Now, I want to go into my folder where I have this stuff, and I'm going to do my new shift right-click trick to get a PowerShell window open in here. And then I just want to run this write file.to Python. Oops. How do I run Python files again? Py. So to run a Python script, you write py, and then you write the file name. And I called it write file2.py. And, oh, where is that supposed to go? There's supposed to be a test file.txt, right? If you go read that website I stole this code from, it'll tell you that if there isn't a file with that name, it'll make one. And if there is a file with that name, it'll open it empty. Like this is going to rewrite over the top of it. So I'm expecting to see a test file.txt in here. And right now I'm seeing a test.txt, which is from me writing this lecture, and no test file.txt. So like what the hell? Why didn't, like it didn't kick an error, right? It just didn't do the thing. You would think, I spent a while looking for it, like a good idea might be to just search like, what was it? It was supposed to be called testfile.txt, right? So I might be like, oh, that opened a web explorer, not what I wanted. But it would have tried to find, like, if it had been somewhere, it would have notified me that it was somewhere. Like if I search for test.txt, the one I actually had, it's a text document, it knows where it is, I can find it. So that apparently that test file just flat doesn't frickin' exist. So what the heck happened? This took me a little bit to figure out, but as I was fiddling things around, I noticed that this happens.
Oh my gosh.
There's two different sets of parentheses. Like there's two different ASCII assignments for double quotes. And when someone uploaded this to the web, it automatically converted the right quotes into the wrong quotes. And then when I downloaded it, like when I copied and pasted it, it didn't convert them back. So this just literally had the wrong kind of quotation marks. Which is why you might spend a minute thinking about like, oh, actually CodeWriter did me a favor here, right? By changing things color. So now I know that those are the wrong quotes, and I can maybe do control replace. No, of course not. So now I could go through and replace all of these with the appropriate ones. This is a really good spot for a search and replace. So if I find does, let's see, and I want to find this character. Yeah, but it's not working well, so F it. And it seems like you really only need to change the first one, right? Except if you look kind of closely at this, the paren at the end there is also in a string. If you try to run this, it'll yell at you. Let me try, just for kicks. It's like, end of line. That's what EOL stands for in Python. So that hit the end of the line while scanning the string. It's not supposed to do that, right? The string's supposed to end before it hits the end of the line. So it didn't know what to do with printing that. So I need to go and make sure I change all of them. And then if I hit Control S and write, now I have here a test file.txt. Oh, and it says this thing about new lines in it, but nah. But it didn't actually create any new lines because I didn't put any carriage returns in it. So, what was the new line commit? The new line part of a string in processing? You guys remember? Ben, you got it? /n. Yep, so if I put /n's at the end of all of these, then it'll actually create new lines.
In the string?
Yep, in the string. /n's what's called an escape character. So now it's going to actually have done something. What? Yeah, sure. Okay. And there we go. And now I actually have new lines like I was expecting to. You guys see that? So this is a little different than the save strings command in processing. Right, the save strings command in processing, the one that writes to a file, takes a file name, just like this one. Well, almost just like this one. I didn't actually put a file name into one of the writes, did I? Let me look at the code. So, what's this code doing? Like, if I had to comment this code, what would this look like?
It's opening a text file, or a text document, and then filling it.
Yeah, so it's opening a text file and calling the result, right, of opening the text file, right? So when it opens the text file, there's this idea of an open text file. And it's storing that into a variable called file. You guys with me on that? Like, that thing's a variable assignment. We don't have a variable type like that in processing, but there is one in Python.
Variable or an object?
That's a really good point. It's kind of both. Yeah, it's got, so here, because it has a write method to it, you would think to yourself, yeah, that's probably an object. Python's objects are a little bizarre, but yeah, this is an object. Okay, and then these commands are applying the write method to the idea of that open file, right? And then what's this file close doing? Yeah, that's saying, okay, you've got this open file, right? That's like living in the RAM of the computer. I would like to put that thing on the hard drive. So I'm going to close that book and push it out to the hard drive. So that's the thing that actually does this save. If I, say, commented that line out and put in some new line here like, haha! Right? And I go try this. Like, just with these guys, I might expect that it wrote that. Right? But if I go find that thing and open it up, crap!
What?
It did right over.
Huh.
Okay, interesting. Apparently you don't have to stop touching a file. Python 2, I think, wouldn't have done that.
Or Java.
Yeah, so it is good practice to stop touching the file when you're done with it. I would recommend that you do that. I'm not sure what would happen if I started running other...
Okay, I've run it multiple times and have several files open.
Let's see. So if I do py file.write Yeah, so I'm basically just using the command line to try to write on it. Okay. So it did apparently close it when the script stopped running. Do you guys know you can do this? If you just want to do like one Python thing, you can write it into the command line, just py in the command. Like if you want to do py print what? God damn it. I'm showing you that I don't understand how Python 3 works at all. Huh. Cool. Well, I'm learning things about Python 3.
I know you can do that with like Java stuff, but
Yeah, you can usually do it in Python. In Python 2, I believe you can do this. Whatever. Okay. At any rate, what we've discovered is that we could read and write, or we could at least write to a file. You guys with me? Okay, so if I wanted to read a file first,
I'm guessing the file.read.
yeah, okay, so there's another file in here. So I'm going to call this file 2 so as not to confuse things. And I'm going to open, that file was called test.txt. So I'm just going to see what I was outputting in the other one. And what's this W thing? Yeah, that's opening it with the intention to write on it. Do I intend to write on this other file? No, I just intend to read it. So I'm going to put a read. And then maybe I just do here, I'm going to do print file 2. And we'll see if that works. Error. Unexpected indent. You can see what happened there? It has space in there.
That's fun.
Yeah, Python really cares. Is my test file empty? No, my test file has stuff in it. Ah, cool. What was my problem? Did you guys see my issue? I just tried to print the... Oops, that's the wrong... I'm giving away the answer. Stop looking at this. Damn it. Did you guys see what was different? What did I lose? I'm trying to print the file, right? But did I ever read the file? No, I just opened it. Right, so this file, too, is the idea of an open file. But you need to actually know what's in it. So, file2.read, empty argument, right? So that's going to apply the read method to the file2 object. And then if I run this, cool, there's my stuff. You guys with me?
Yep.
Cool. So, reading and writing is not actually that hard, with the exception of figuring out that there's two different kinds of parentheses and remembering that you actually have to do this stuff you're talking about doing. You guys cool that? Oh, and if I was doing really good coding, I would here write file2.close.
What if you didn't want to overwrite the data that you've already got in your text file? What if you wanted to add to it?
Good. So if I wanted to... Hang on, let me